Hey everyone, welcome back to the Castaway Consultants, where we teach future Survivor players how to play the game by critiquing current players. I am one of your three co-hosts, Derek Kubicek, and today we are going to be looking at episode 2 of season 48, Humble Traits. Tonight I am joined by my two regular and fabulous co-hosts, Josh Wessler and Ryan Stacy. Josh, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking, Derek.
And Ryan, how are you doing?
I'm good. I could be better. I wish the outcome from tonight's episode had been different. There was an optimal outcome that didn't happen. It was still a good episode, but someone could have gone home, and I wish it had happened.
Yeah, I'm going to call this Baseline Survivor. And Baseline Survivor, reminder, is great. We had some villainy. We had some antagantry. That's not a word, but it's a word now.
All words are made up.
All words, yeah, I'm a newologist today. And that makes me really, really excited for what is to come. But ultimately, I think we're going to be going back to what we said for most of the first part of season 47. This is some pre-merge BS, and someone's going to play themselves right out of the game. Play them out, keyboard cat.
And that happened.
Yep.
This was just a weird episode. I don't know if you guys had the same feeling, but it just seemed like a weird episode, maybe just because it was so idol heavy.
It was very idol heavy.
Or adventure idol heavy, either with Mystery Adventure Island or with the riddle cryptic thingy, whatever word it is that Derek definitely knows. It just seemed like that was the main focus of it, and it's like Survivor was kind of in the background for me because of that, and that's what made it very just that's it.
That should be the tagline for the episode.
Survivor 48 episode 2.
It's like, here you go. Here's your episode of Survivor. Okay, cool.
Thanks. Well, should we jump into it and talk about why I am so disappointed?
We've given everybody ample opportunity to pause the podcast and go watch it if they aren't already. So I think we're good to get into spoilers.
All right, 3, 2, 1. I'm disappointed because I really wanted Say to go home tonight because she's super annoying.
Luckily, we're all going to live to see tomorrow with the Survivor pool.
Because, Derek, you and I had Say in the Survivor pool. And you know what? I would have been fine losing the Survivor pool if Say had gotten home here because it would have been the funniest outcome.
This would be the funniest timeline if that's the case. And you know what? Of all the timelines to be in, the funniest is a perfectly acceptable option.
But we're not. We're going to lose Kevin tonight, who is my best player of the first episode. So I know what I'm talking about.
Like a supernova, burned too brightly, too quickly, and collapsed into a black hole of nothingness.
In his defense, I don't think he did anything wrong.
I think he did.
Not too much.
I think it was more
terrible.
other people doing bad things.
So I just want to point this out. In terms of day one shoulder injuries, it has not gone well for any of them. Stephanie LaGrossa, Jim Lynch in Guatemala, Stephanie LaGrossa in Heroes vs. Villains, Daniel Strunk in 42, and now Kevin in 48, all gone out pre-merge.
Oops.
So what you're saying is don't get hurt on Survivor?
Don't get hurt on Survivor.
That's a real news flash.
As a consultant, I know this is really high-level thinking. Not everybody would come up with this. This is why they pay us the big bucks.
Yeah.
Don't get hurt on Survivor. Now, on the flip side, Tyson did win. However, he did not have a day 1 shoulder injury. It was like a day 6 shoulder injury or something like that. So slightly different. But yeah, we're going to lose Kevin tonight, which is kind of a bummer because I thought he has had a lot of potential, and I would much rather have him stay and Say go, but c'est la vie.
C'est la vie. That was sieste. I mean, the spelling is different, but, I like the homonym.
C'est la vie.
C'est la vie. All right, so episode proper time. We're going to get back to camp, and Say is going to try and play it cool. And obviously, she tells us in confessional, yeah, I'm pissed. And it's pretty obvious she's not thrilled about getting a vote, but whatever. Yeah, she kind of is going to hold a grudge against Mary for the rest of the episode.
For the rest of her life.
For the rest of her life, yes.
From here and evermore, probably to this day.
And a very verbal grudge.
Yeah.
Now, I want to throw a little bit of shade on Mary. Because, I mean, this is always a two-way communication channel. Say said, I'm not really taking this too personally. And then Mary's like, I don't believe you. That
Is she wrong?
you should be right and quiet about it.
Yeah, be right and quiet about it. That's for sure.
This reminded me of that couple on that season where they fought early on. Blood
John
versus
and-
Water one. John and Jacqueline. Like, don't just be picking at these little scabs. Like, sometimes you got to let the wound heal. And one thing I think we need to remember about a night one vote, or sorry, like a first tribal council, is that, yeah, Mary, you're on the outside. You put down the wrong name. But there is plausible deniability. Whether or not Say believes it is up to her. But you can say, hey, it was really confusing. I did vote against you. I understand why you might not want to work with me, but I'm here to talk. So it's better than her being like, Say, I don't believe you. You're definitely still mad at me, and I'd rather you be honest. Let's
bond over burning down the camp.
Yeah. Let's all bond over voting out Kevin.
The next day, speaking of Kevin, he wants to get rid of Say next, or at least put the votes on her so she plays her idol. He wants to do the enemy of the state strategy, the patented enemy of the state strategy, where you get two sides to play against each other, and it doesn't really matter what the outcome is because you're not in the crossfire. Unfortunately, Kevin's going to be in the crossfire, but his plan, he talks to Cedric and Justin about it. He wants to get Say out next instead of Mary. But if she plays the idol, Mary goes out, it's fine. They can get the idol. It is a great plan. I love Kevin's plan. His only flaw really is going to be he underestimates how close Cedric and Say are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the big thing.
And I don't know how you can't see that. And I get it. We have the edit to go off of. They have island life. But you have enough votes, at least right now, you have enough votes before Mystery Adventure Island to just have Kevin, Justin, and Mary as a threesome, and you'll be fine. You don't need to bring in Cedric. It'd be nice if you were able to, but that's an unnecessary risk to take.
Unfortunately, things are going to get complicated. Over on Loggy, Eva is going to piss off Star. Basically, they're going to be talking about upcoming challenges and who to sit out. And don't do this. There is no point in talking about who is going to sit out of the challenge until you see what it is. Because what you do is like, oh, maybe you should sit out. You could offend the wrong person by saying that. You don't mean to, but some people can't handle any sort of criticism or suggestion that they might be bad at something, whatever. And I'm not saying that's what Star is doing, but Star doesn't like this. Eva's just going off about why Star should sit out of the challenge.
It burns a bridge. And the other thing, and you were hinting at this, everyone has different strengths. I'm not saying that this is the case, and I don't know how this works, but what if you get to the challenge and it's a don't be tall challenge, something where being shorter is better? Then maybe Thomas has to sit out because he's the tallest guy on the tribe. You don't want the tall person, and this is a silly example. Pick your example. It could be balance, and Star might be a gymnast. Like, I have no idea.
Yeah, the point is there's no point in talking about it until you get there because you don't know what it's going to be.
Correct.
If you want to use this opportunity to talk about strengths, like, I'm really good at puzzles, or I'm really good at balance, or whatever it might be, that's where this can come in and be like, cool, now we know in general, and we can make a decision at the challenge.
Or say like, hey, I'm not a very good swimmer, or hey, I have a broke ass ankle from a golf cart accident. Balance is not my strong suit. I know that might be a little specific, but
That could be anybody.
That could be anybody. That could be anybody.
Literally anybody could have done this.
So yeah, don't speak for other people in that capacity. It's a good way to offend somebody. Star's offended, wants Eva out next. So Star is gonna go look for the idol and finds the beware advantage and takes it. Might as well. She's on the bottom.
Yeah.
But where it's gonna be kind of a similar puzzle lock. What are those things called? Cryptogram thing?
Yeah, cryptogram or something. I can't think of it right now.
It's
crypto
thingy. Yeah, cryptocurrency, Dogecoin.
Am I doing this right?
Is this how cryptocurrency works?
Crypto fire tokens.
Like a thingy combination lock. That's cryptocurrency. You unlock it and you get coins.
Sure.
It's slightly different than each tribe's got a slightly different version, but it ultimately solved this puzzle lock. Star cannot figure this thing out. So she's going to ask Joe for help, and Joe's going to bring in Shaheen. And Joe and Shaheen are going to be like, okay, so what do we do? They pretend that they're with Star. They're like, yeah, we're together. We got this. Okay, Joe, Shaheen, what do we actually do? Do we help her? Do we do nothing? Do we sabotage? What do we do here? And it's really interesting.
And other than the vote, I think this is the biggest, like, maybe decision-making point that we could break down if you guys want to, just because there are a lot of different angles that we can take here.
Well, I'm going to frame this up like this because I'm always looking for a good old challenge throw opportunity. What if they were to lose this piece of paper, throw the challenge, and vote out Star? Is this the time to do it?
And I think it's too early. If this was episode 4 and you haven't been to Tribal Council yet, yeah, maybe. Might be a good call. Episode 2, I'm not there yet.
I agree. Like I said, we love a challenge throw.
We do love a good challenge throw.
A good challenge throw. I think day 2 is a bit too early. If you can get to the point where she maybe does earn this idol on her own, there might be a tribe swap. We've seen that in the new era. And as long as you keep that facade up, if you swap into a minority position, she might be able to use that idol to help you or anybody on the tribe who's in the core 5. So there are too many game production factors at play, I think, to purposely throw it on day 2. But it was still really fun for me to talk about that. But Josh, what were you thinking about?
First of all, I thought it was pretty wild that she just gave him the clue.
Yeah, she gave Shaheen the clue.
It was basically just cut to confessional, and he's sitting there with it and shows it to us, and I'm like, oh my god, like he has it now. No, she didn't give him the actual like contraption that holds the idol, I'm pretty sure, but still, like that is very important information that he has, and he's just like, all right, I guess it's up to me now to figure this out. If I'm in his shoes, like I just don't do it. He ran through like he ran through like he ran through like 3 or 4 scenarios about like I could, just go all out and figure this out and give her that, and then I have the information of the idol. Or, you go all the way to the other side and just sabotage and just give her like blatantly wrong information to try to prevent Star from being able to solve this thing. I think the best choice, just because you have a solid 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 other people who you can be aligned with, and Star is clearly the person that is on the outs. I think you just kind of go with the flow, go along with what Star is looking for. You kind of like hold it up and try to figure out like, maybe it's a you. I'm not really sure. This is really tricky. But you don't really take it any further than that, because at the end of the day, you do want Star out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you work on it when she wants you to work on it. When I say work on it, I mean work on it. And if she wants to work on it, let her work on it, but don't be of any help.
Yeah. Give advice that won't actually help. Like, oh, maybe it's this. And it's not that.
Yeah.
But it
maybe
looks
it's
like
a
you're
cue.
helping. The illusion of helping. Star's also going to bring in Thomas and Bianca. So it's everybody but Eva on this thing now. And Thomas is going to suggest to Shaheen, hey, you could just lose the thing. And Shaheen's like, okay, that's a little too hardcore for me. So I do ultimately like that Shaheen just plays it cool, plays the middle. He keeps all of his options open because they don't lose the challenge. They're going to win. So he still has every option available to him at this point. So I really like how he decides to handle it.
Reminder that we could have a swap at some point. We could maybe only go to 3 tribal councils and then swap. And you never know if, maybe you are the only person from this tribe going to another tribe, and then you're with Star maybe. It's like it's the 2 of them. It's like, I need to be friends with Star. Let's go. And
don't burn bridges. Don't burn bridges unless you have to.
Solve this idol for real.
So Joe is going to fill in Eva on what's going on, because that is his closest alliance. So now everyone knows. Everyone knows.
But I have a question for you guys. You're Shaheen, and Thomas suggests to you to lose the paper. What do you take away from Thomas telling you that?
He is a player.
Mm-hmm.
That's it?
That's all I got. He's a player.
That is what we in the Castaway Consultants like to consider ammo. Ammo for later. You do nothing about it right now, but that's kind of like a, hey, post-merge, maybe I'm okay cutting Thomas.
Yep.
Maybe it's fine.
Be okay cutting Thomas later. He'll cut you. Yeah.
So the way that I read that is as he wants ammo against you, because if you do it, ultimately you're the one that does it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's going to go talk to Bianca and Joe and Ava about it. So I would be very cautious if we're suggesting moves like that. Now, it might mean that he really trusts you, but you have to think about what the blowback is on you based on
Yep.
the action and not his words.
Talk less, think more. We're going to go on to a journey, and to decide who's going, they're going to play a game, which it turns out is from the Survivor board game, the new Survivor board game that just recently came out. We played it recently, like 2 weeks ago for the first time, the three of us and our friend Jordan. And Derek, I believe you won.
I did, yeah. Whoa,
Okay.
what's going on over here?
Okay, this is really funny because I've been using it, and this is going to be really shaky for people on video. I'm sorry, but it's worth it. It's right here. I use it as my stand for my computer because it's a perfect height.
I love it.
But here it is. I feel like Jeff showing it off on
Yeah,
camera.
we got like a kind of commercial for it tonight with Jeff.
You're welcome.
This game that they play is in the Survivor board game. And it was in the board game and like, oh, they haven't done this on Survivor before. Now they have. So yeah, we played it a couple of days ago, or 2 weeks ago. It was very fun. A little cutthroat, but it was fun.
Derek won.
and Derek did not win. Definitely not.
And you know what though? I thought it was kind of funny because they don't really give you rules. Actually, one of the rules is, hey, there are no rules, but you can't do just a couple things. Like I think like show
You
cards.
can't show your cards to other
Um,
players.
when this game came up though, I really liked what I did. I just told everyone, hey, I'm throwing down a 1. You guys can do what you want, but I'm throwing down a 1. And
Yeah,
then
except we all knew that you weren't going to put down a 1.
But I threw down a 2 instead because the person that I wanted to get the advantage was Ryan, because I knew Ryan was going to try and block me, but I wanted him to have it. And then I wanted to talk to him about it and like say, hey, that was to try and get it to you because I knew that you would be the one to stand in my way. So I tried to get it to Ryan. It worked as intended, but then he flipped on me immediately. Not flipped, but like he didn't see the bridge. He definitely burned the bridge when he got there.
This is wonderful, but this is not how you do it on Survivor. This game is you have to throw out a finger between 1 and 5. Whoever throws out the lowest unique number. So if the three of us are playing, and Derek and Josh both throw out a 2, and I throw out a 5, I get to go on the quest because that is the lowest unique number. What Derek suggests by saying what number you're going to throw out and throwing out something different is not something you should do on the show, because people will see you as a schemer and a plotter if you start doing stuff like that. That is something that might work in Mario Party, not in Survivor.
The key being there was only 4 of us in that game to begin with. Yeah, don't do this in the pre-merge. In the pre-merge, just throw random numbers.
Yes.
Well, and here's the thing is they spent so little time evaluating it. Whereas like us in the game, it's like, oh, like Derek knew all along because he had the strategy of, oh, I wanted Ryan to get this. But on the island when they're doing this, it's for the journey. Like it's relatively low stakes. Someone might throw down a 5 because they really don't want to go on the adventure. And they just move on. Like, no, it seemed like no one talked about it. So if you really don't want to have the target on your back and you don't want to go, just chuck up a 5. You're going to be fine.
Yeah. If you don't want to go, put up a 5. If you want to go 1, 2, 3, cross your fingers.
Yeah.
Better to keep it random this early.
But Thomas and Mitch and Mary were going to go. Thomas and Mitch went straight up. On Vula, they decide to play a practice round first of Say doesn't really want to. Say wins the practice round. So she's like, oh, I'm going to go. And everybody's like, no. That was the practice round. And so they played again and Mary wins. And Say gets real pissy about it. I'm just like, can we vote Say out, please? She's annoying. Go away.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to play with Say. I really wouldn't.
But yeah, they go to Mystery Adventure Island, Mitch, Thomas, and Mary, and they each get a chance to play a game for an advantage, puzzle. Mary fails and loses her vote, but Mitch and Thomas win. Thomas gets to steal a vote. Mitch gets a block a vote. They're going to go back to camp. Mary's going to tell her tribe she lost her vote. Thomas is going to say he didn't play the game, and Mitch is going to tell the tribe the truth. He got the vote blocker, which puts a target on his back. Because he's not in the core alliance on Siva. He's close with Charity, it turns out. So he has an advantage and is aligned with the person who is on the bottom. So not great for Mitch. So the majority is worried about the Mitch and Charity situation. So they go idol hunting. Kyle is going to find the Boer advantage with David with him. Kyle can't figure it out. Camilla can. He gives it to Camilla. She figures it out pretty quickly. Kyle has the idol.
Now, I want to talk about Mitch's very public block a vote at this point, because I think this is really interesting. He's in a minority situation, but it doesn't matter if you're in a minority or majority situation, I think, to follow the Castaway Consultants advice, because we very often say it's already kind of a public advantage. it's probably best just to say that you have it and then to burn it at the first tribal.
Yeah.
But with a block of vote, that's different because you can burn a bridge really quickly with a block of vote. I think what you do with a block of vote, if you want to follow the Castaway Consultants best guidance, very publicly leave it back at camp when you're going to tribal. Drop it on the beach and say, guys, I'm not bringing it. I want to use this for the tribe during a swap or at the merge. I'm not bringing it.
If you're in the minority position, which I don't know if Mitch knows.
Well, I'm not saying that he does. I don't think it matters because
matters.
we've said if you want to get that target off your back, you need to be open and honest. So if you're trying to follow our advice, the block of vote is different because you can burn a bridge. And we would say burn it as soon as you can, but that could hurt somebody else. So say like, I'm not going to use it.
But if you're in the majority, you bring it, you play it, you move on.
Yes, but you play it on the person
Going home.
if there's a very obvious person going home.
Sure.
But there is no obvious person going home. What if they have an idol? You know? That's why I say, like, I think it's better with a block of vote, no matter if you're a majority or minority, to leave it there if that's your intent.
I don't agree. At least not all the time. Some of the time, maybe, but I don't agree.
I get what you're saying, but I think I'm siding more with Ryan on this just because once they see that, they can swap out their plan really easily and be like, okay, cool, let's vote him out while he doesn't have this advantage. It's back at camp. Cool.
But conversely, the reason that they want Mitch out right now, or the reason they're more suspicious of him, is because he's close with Charity. If you leave your block of vote back at camp, they could switch to Charity because of that and would rather keep the 5 together if they can, even if you are 5 out of 5 on that tribe.
Maybe.
I said what I said.
Yeah, I'm on the
You did.
play it side. So we're gonna go to the immunity challenge, and Siva and Logie are gonna win pretty handily because Kevin and Cedric are not great at the balance beam part of it. It seems to be both of them as we're watching, but apparently Cedric was the problem trying to go across this balance beam together. So Cedric is the reason they lose the challenge. So Vula is going back to Tribal Council. Say wants Mary out, but Kevin is going to campaign against Say. He wants Say out because of the idol situation, so he's going to put his plan into effect. But I think he goes wrong here because he doesn't really ask Cedric how he feels about it. He needs to be a little softer with his approach with Cedric, someone who's Say's closest ally. How do you feel about this, Cedric? Do you want to do this plan? I think it might be smart, but what do you want to do? You really have to be soft and finesse it if you're going to go this way. And I think you mentioned earlier, Derek, originally, or maybe it was you, Josh, I can't remember who said it, but it could have been Kevin, Justin, and Mary who pull off this plan. But Mary's lost her vote, so we can't do that anymore. So it has to be Cedric where this plan isn't happening. So Kevin really has to be smooth like butter with Cedric if he wants this to work, and he doesn't do that.
Yeah, it was Josh who said that, by the way.
Thank you. And even then, I think you still have to be really careful just because on Survivor, as we have advised people, it's very easy to just, go with a plan and say like, yes, I'm in, let's do it, whatever it might be. And then you can decide later whether or not you actually want to do that. I think maybe just tweaking the wording a little bit in your approach to Cedric is more so just like, what do you think of this? And maybe not necessarily input your opinion on it, like overly heavily just to try to sway them one way or another, because then they might just feel the pressure of saying yes, even though they're not going to agree with it.
And that's what happens. Kevin puts his opinion on it. Cedric says yes, and then later on, he's going to change things up. Kevin's going to tell Mary, hey, relax, just be chill, you'll be fine. She will be. She's going to be fine. But Cedric is not wanting to vote out Say because they are close. They have kind of a father-daughter relationship. He trusts Say more than Mary. Also, going to the end with Say might be a good idea.
Honestly, for everyone on this tribe, yeah, maybe you do want to get Say out, except for Cedric. Like, he might be the one person where it's like, you know what, maybe I do keep her around, because it seems like as erratic as she might play, I think that if she would keep anyone with her the entire time, it's going to be him.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. So Cedric tells Say, hey, play your idol. The votes are coming for you. We're going to take out Mary instead. And Say's like, okay, but how about Kevin instead? Because Kevin's the one behind it all. Why don't we take him out? He's the mastermind, and he's a dangerous player. Cedric still wants to do Mary, but Say is going to work on him and Justin, try and get the vote on Kevin instead. So yeah, it's really, this is an interesting breakdown, because apparently it works. Say does play her idol, but she didn't need to. It's going to be 3 votes for Kevin, 1 vote for Say. Mary obviously couldn't vote. So yeah, Kevin is out of the game. But the question is, and this is a kind of a complex one, is was this the right move? What was the right move?
Well, and I want to go back a little bit because Justin and Say are off having a sidebar, and Justin asks Say straight out, do you want to go for Kevin instead? And Say's like, no, I don't want to do that. It's too early for that. Justin, then we see, goes to Cedric. They have a conversation, and Justin brings up voting out Kevin. I know we're fed an edit, but it's very clear that Kevin was getting maybe a little bit too big for his boots regardless. This is some pre-merge behavior. We see this all the time. Getting into whether or not this is the right vote, based on the kind of player that I've seen Say to be in terms of social finesse, which I'm not saying that she's not a wonderful person, and you know what? I feel like I could be friends with her. I don't feel like she has social finesse. And if you're going to have a successful alliance of 4, all 4 people need some semblance of finesse. I think this is the wrong move specifically for Cedric. I think he should have let the Say vote happen, get the hardware out of the game, and while you don't necessarily think you can trust Mary as much, I think you can trust the fact that Say cannot be trusted long term. I think this is the wrong move, specifically for Cedric, but after Cedric blows up the move, what's Justin supposed to do? He can't do anything about that, so I think Justin played it right by going with Cedric, but I think it's the wrong move for Cedric.
When we have a tribe like this where things aren't looking great, I go to Matt Singh. You want to be Malcolm and Denise in the Matt Singh tribe. Who are the top 2? Just in case it's going to be 4 people out in a row. So that's what I always go to. So my question for Cedric, who is your number 1? Who is the person you are closest to on this tribe you want to be? And are they your number 1 too? Is that person Say? I don't know. It seems like it might be. It could also be Justin. I really don't know. But Mary's last, it seems like, for Cedric. So maybe the better option would have been to stick to your guns and then tell Say, play your idol, knock Mary out of the game. So then you have Say, you have this loyal number, but you still have the other street open. It's just Cedric's best route forward. He still has routes with everybody on the tribe. So, I'm not mad at Cedric for telling Say to play her idol, but was voting Kevin out or Mary out the stronger move? So that's where I'm going to go. Process elimination. I like Cedric telling Say. I'm okay with this. So who should go, Mary or Kevin is the question. For Say, I don't think it matters too much. For Cedric, Mary makes more sense to me than Kevin. And for Justin, Mary makes more sense to me than Kevin. We have seen that these guys all have some sort of alliance, some sort of bond going. Why not take out Mary and keep that line of communication open with Kevin? Because you have a working relationship with him. So I'm going to go with this is the wrong move. And Mary should have been the one to go home.
I completely agree. I think it should have been Mary. But I will say that I think that this is the worst for Justin here, just because I think that the Matt Singh thought process is the best thought process to take, because we are not looking good here, guys. Like, this tribe is in deep right now. Don't want to assume that it's going to go down to just 2 people. I think a much more plausible result is going to be 3, kind of like what was it, the Tika 3 a few seasons, a handful actually now seasons ago. So who are, let's say 3 people that you can really trust, and I think it is the guys. I think that it is Justin, Kevin, and Cedric. And if that means that Say has to go because Cedric doesn't tell her about the idol, great. If it has to be Mary because you want to tell Say about the idol, burn it and then have Mary still go home, and then you have the backup vote with Say the next time. That's not as good because you've completely burned all trust with Say, but it can work, I suppose. But ultimately, it's who you got to be thinking more than just this vote into the future. And for sure, it seems like Kevin and Justin need to be the ones that move together. And Justin kind of just blew that up. So I really did not like that from him.
I completely agree with you about Justin. I do think this was the worst for Justin.
Yeah, and I want to clarify something. So I don't think that it was the right move for Cedric to tell Say. However, if we're getting down to the end where he tells her, and now the choice is between Mary and Kevin, I agree with you guys completely that it should be Mary at that point. because Mary's had no agency in her game. The one time she voted wrong. And now she would have been kept alive by the mercy of her tribe. She's going to probably jump ship first opportunity she can, and she would be right to do so. So after Cedric tells Say to play her idol and she believes him, she's in on that, I think Mary has to go. But I do think it should have been Say, just based on the way that she plays the game, for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think all of us agree it should not have been Kevin.
Correct. We all are.
Correct.
We are in lockstep. This is the wrong move. And Josh, I don't know, do we have any social media results to share on that front?
Across the vast landscape of the interwebs, we toss out some polls about if the right person got voted out tonight, and it was unanimous that the wrong person was sent home.
Okay.
We would agree with the interwebs
We
today.
agree. We're all correct today. So that's something we're all on the same page for once. Let's get into best and worst player of the episode then. Derek, why don't you start us off? Who is the best player of the episode?
I had a tough time with this one because, like Josh said early on, a lot of the episode was taken up by the adventure and by idol discussions. I'm going to land with someone who did find an idol. I'm going to land with Kyle because he finds himself firmly in an alliance of 4. I think he appropriately is leveraging the knowledge of the board advantage and the idol. And they were able to win immunity and keep themselves in it. So Siva is in a decent spot, or at least if you're in the majority on Siva. So I'm landing with Kyle today.
Okay. Josh?
Yeah, that seems fine to me. I didn't really feel very strongly about anyone, and maybe it was just because it was so advantage and like adventure heavy this episode. And I ain't picking anyone from Fula. So yeah, Kyle works. I was also considering either like Joe or Shaheen, just because they're debating whether or not to do something with Star. But I'll go Kyle.
I gave an honorable mention to Kyle, but I went with Shaheen just because I liked the way he played the middle on his tribe so much.
Shaheen was my honorable mention.
So
Shaheen, sorry.
Is it Shaheen or Shaheen?
I feel like the one time we heard it in the first episode was Thomas saying Shaheen.
Okay.
But we're figuring that out.
Okay. So
also,
yeah. Sorry if we got it wrong.
Yeah. Also, just a note, just because I remember this from last episode, it is Eva, not Ava.
Okay, Eva.
Okay.
And yeah, I heard Derek say it a couple of times, Ava. So just
Just we'll go. It's Eva, like as in Wally. Eva.
All right. How about worst player? Josh, who do you got?
This is all based off of if he thought that what the right move was. Completely dependent on that. I'm going to go back to what I was saying, that I think that the person who is the worst out after the result of this vote is Justin, just because I think that he doesn't have a strong grouping with anyone. He's no one's number one, it seems like. And I don't even want to say that Kevin was like a potential number one, but like it was there. It was something for him. Your number one is not going to be Cedric. Your number one is not going to be Say. Maybe you can do something with Mary, but good luck with that. So I think that Justin is just going to be in a very weak position moving forward in the game.
I agree completely. I also have Justin.
I'm gonna go ahead and pick Say. I didn't like the way she was talking with Mary after the vote. I didn't like the way she was talking with Mary at Tribal. I didn't like the way she was yelling at her tribe during the challenge. Cedric told her to play her idol, and she believed him. And whether or not they had conversations that we didn't see, she played her idol wrong. And now has no hardware. And I still think that Justin and Cedric may actually be the duo here, and she could get voted out next. Mary can go find something and force them to vote out Say. I don't like almost anything she's doing. I don't blame her for playing her idol after she heard it from Cedric, but combine that with the fact that it's been sloppy so far, including today, I'm still picking her.
I think that's very fair.
Yeah, I think the only thing that stopped me from picking her was the fact that voting out Kevin was good for her.
I acknowledge that it was fine. I think voting out Mary would have been good for her too.
Yeah, either one was fine.
Yeah, we didn't really mention up until now the fact that she played her idol incorrectly.
Yeah, wrong move for her.
Which is the Amanda Parvati situation, by the way.
I don't blame her. I would 100% have played it.
All right, let's get into who's going next. I'm going to take us over to Siva. And so I think the group of 4 will stick together. And the question is, who are they going to take out, Mitch or Charity? Mitch is hardware. I think Mitch is going to go.
I have Mitch as well.
I don't feel strongly about either one. So, because it's a block vote, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's not like it's an idol or something where it's like, let's go for charity this time, Mitch next time. It's like, it's a block vote. We have majority. We'll be fine.
Yeah. Derek, take us over to Loggy.
If it's Loggy, I still think it's Star. She doesn't have the idol yet. She hasn't found it. If she finds it, obviously, this is null and void. But as of right now, it's very clear the 5 want her gone. And I don't see that changing yet.
Yep. Agreed.
Yep, I agree. They show us next time on Survivor what appears to be Thomas, Bianca, and Star scheming and plotting. I think that's a fake out, and Star will get caught.
That's a big old red herring.
Yeah. All right, Josh, take us over to Vula. Who's going next?
Once again, the most interesting tribe. I'm gonna go Mary here, just because I think that they're gonna want to try to get some sort of group going. And I think that they kind of buried themselves into the say bed at this point. And she misplayed her idol, so like she can't even really say like, oh, you guys voted for me and now we don't have any trust. Like, no, we didn't. We voted for Kevin. So I think that they can still work together going forward and just like vote out Mary, and then if Cedric and Justin need to and don't want to work with Say after that, they still can be, a duo in the Matt Singh of it all. So I'm gonna go with Mary here.
They're in too deep. They're all the way. They're so deep. They're on the Say bed. Yeah. There's something there.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't want God to have mercy on your soul.
I thought it was kind of funny. Yeah, Mary's next.
So I had initially put down Say, and then I ended up changing this, and it's mostly because the person who had the connection with Mary was Kevin. Kevin was the link for Mary into a possible grouping of 3 or 4 at some point. And now that Kevin's gone, I feel like the safer option, can't believe I'm saying this, is for Justin and Cedric to roll with Say for at least one more vote.
Yeah. Hate to see it. All right, let's get into who can't win this game. That we have one person who can't win this game. Mine has not changed. I still have Say.
I still have Say.
I'm changing.
Okay.
I had Star. I'm going over to Say.
Yeah.
This episode was enough for me. I thought it was a little premature. I'll still say that it was a little premature last week for you guys to pick Say, but there was just overwhelming proof in this episode that she's not going to have the social game to win. Could she get it to the end with a bunch of big moves? Yeah, she could. Is she going to get votes at the end? Maybe one. Maybe. It's a very Russell Hantz picture that's being painted right now. I'm not saying that she's the equivalent of a Russell Hantz, because I don't want to compare anyone to that in certain regards.
Well, I was gonna say seems like a good person.
Yes. Yes, and that's why I want to make that disclaimer. But the social game does matter. And it doesn't matter how hard you play or how cutthroat you are, it's gonna matter at the end. So I don't think she can.
I think Russell is a good comparison, at least in the game, because they are both showing complete disregard for the social game. So I do think it is a fair comparison.
I think it's a comparison. I think the big difference is that Russell is mean. I'm not, and I don't even know how he is with his friends, but in game he is mean to other people.
She's been kind of mean at times.
Yeah.
I will say it. It does seem like she has had those moments. I'm not saying it's at the same level, because it's really hard to be at that same level, but she's had her moments. And maybe this is just pre-merge. Maybe it's like you said, pre-merge BS. And once you get to the post-merge, none of this matters, and she can play a completely different game. I doubt it.
It could just be the island. Maybe she's lovely in real life. We don't know.
But this leads right into the Derek only segment of sticking a fork, and I'm going to go ahead and stick a fork in Say right now. Mary,
say what?
Mary, you're right there. I need to see something from you. I need any sign of life. But I'm sticking a fork in Say. I don't think she's going to win this game at all, and I'm planting that.
Okay, all right. Winner of Survivor 48 is Say, everybody.
And we'll see. I mean, I planted a fork in Gabler pretty early.
Truth. Oops. Whoopsies. All right. Last thing we had to do is talk about our Survivor pool. Derek, you and I had Say, and we made it through by the skin of our teeth.
By the skin of our teeth.
Josh, who did you have last week?
I had David, and man, was I not in danger.
Did anyone have Kevin?
No, and I do want to say thank you very much to all the listeners who submitted their survivor pool. We cleared by the big margin the amount of submissions compared to previous seasons. So thank you everyone who submitted, and whether it was on any sort of social media, DMs, replies, or Spotify comments. So thank you very much. But no one had picked Kevin, so everyone is still in the game.
We're all still alive. So again, we can pick one person. Can't pick the same person twice. Someone we think is not going home. Derek, kick us off. Oh, we got a cat. We have a cat joining the podcast.
We're going to make
Hi, Chester.
This is Chester.
Chester is usually a huge menace and tries to play with the cords for our mixing equipment. So he usually gets locked in the bedroom, but he's been really good tonight.
He's been okay. And because we're so close to the end here, I'm going to try and keep him in my lap. And YouTube gets a semi-treat here. So for my survivor pool this week, I'm going to keep it risky. And I'm going to stay on Vula, but I'm going to pick Cedric. Obviously, I can't you say anymore? Mary is way too dangerous. That's a fire pick. But Cedric, I feel pretty good that if someone on Vula goes, it won't be him.
Josh?
That's funny. I'm also staying on Vula, but I'm going Justin here. The exact same thought. I wanted to do it. I wanted to pick either Mary or Say because I did not pick Say last week. I can't do it.
I'm not going risky. I'm going safe as heck. I'm going with Kyle.
Shocker.
Is it an obvious Ryan pick? Yes. Do I stand by it? Yes.
It's worked out for you so well in the past.
Hey, I usually get really far
and then run out.
I'm waiting for you guys to make a mistake, and maybe you guys did this time. I can only hope.
We'll see.
So yeah, everyone submit your picks and keep playing along with us. If you lose, we'll give you a shout out, but if you win, we'll also give you a shout out.
There's literally no losing.
Yeah, you will get a shout out. Yeah. And losing is just winning in reverse.
Yes.
Yep. And now before we get into the housekeeping to end our episode, I want everyone to take a second right now while you are listening to go into Spotify or any one of our platforms. And if you feel comfortable, why don't you share a humble trait if you feel so inclined? You don't have to, but take this opportunity to also participate on Survivor Pool if you did that before. So take this opportunity before we get into housekeeping. I am done.
And I actually did have one other thing too, because we did have a question last week. Apologies to this follower on Blue Sky, because they did ask a question and I completely missed it when we were recording, but I feel like it's still relevant today. And the question was from Just Hug It Off on Blue Sky. Are idols even good anymore? Seems like all they do is put a target on your back.
These pre-merge idols for sure. Yeah, they're really not worth going after at this point. I agree. Post-merge for sure. Get them. It is a trap. These days it's just a trap. Play the social game. Everybody.
And the only time is like we saw Star go and get it. Like when you feel like you are clearly the person on the outs, sure.
But she didn't play the social game. That's how she got there.
True, because she was looking for idols.
Yeah, if you've been listening to Castaway Consultants and Just Hug It Off, maybe a new listener or a new follower, these public idols are not advantages. They are targets. So, yeah, I'm going to agree with Ryan in particular. If it's a public idol, it is a disadvantage. If you can keep it secret, keep it safe, great. But Don't be that desperate.
Yep. You shouldn't have to be. Okay, well, that is episode 2. Excited to see where things go from here. Social media.
Yeah, you can follow us on all across the interwebs at Castaway Pod, and then Facebook and YouTube is Castaway Consultants. TikTok is Castaway Consultants. I haven't posted in there in a while. Sorry. Our website is thecastawayconsultants.com, and then new this week. I'm trying this out to cross post our video on Spotify. I'm not exactly sure if that's something that's going to work out well, just because of how the interface works. But if you do listen on Spotify, you do now have access to our beautiful faces, just like the people who follow us on YouTube and Facebook. Now, if you don't like it, you can switch to the audio only version. You can do that straight through in the app. This is the very first time that I've cross posted our video onto our Spotify podcast channel. So hopefully it doesn't mess up with any listening experience. If it does, like, we'll stop doing it. I know that Spotify is fairly new to the whole video side of things, and I don't want to mess with the audio part of it, since, you know, we're a podcast. That's the most important part. So just kind of a heads up that is the first time that we're doing that.
Okay. Anything else, guys?
No, I think that's everything.
All right. This has been the Castaway Consultants.
Got nothing else for you.
Good night.
Chester, say goodbye.
Bye, Chester.